I've never touched wood. I've never slept in, but it's difficult because sometimes I struggle to get to sleep, and I have like a 4:30 alarm, and I'm like, you're never going to sleep. Like you're just going to rest your eyes. You can turn over a little bit. You look at the clock. It's 2 a.m. It's 3 a.m. You get up, and then you're like, I can't lift my arms. It feels so heavy. And then all of a sudden, it's like game time, and it's like you're absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? And then it might hit you after you've done it, but never during, because you're just so used to it. Like if I played 36 holes, which is 2 rounds in one day, I wouldn't feel it. But like if you did it, you'd be like, my arms are sore, Tom. Like, like you would feel differently to how I would. But I couldn't sit at a poker table for 8 hours because I'd be like, after about 30 minutes, I'd be like, Jeff, I've got to go, mate. I can't sit here. I can't focus that long. Whereas it'd be fine for you. Yeah, so it's funny that I'm the only person that won that twice, but the first time I won it, I was playing a tournament and I was asking a pro. I just turned professional and I asked the pro, I said, what's the best week of the year to play? And he said, oh, the Portugal tournament's really good. A lot of the wives can go, a lot of the family can go and they enjoy the week. The weather's good. The course is nice. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I won that tournament like the next week. And I was like, oh, well, this is a good venue for me. And the prize fund then was pretty good. I think it was just, it was about $600,000 or something, for the first prize. And then I'd gone from not earning anything, so 3 weeks later earning money like this, and then sponsors were coming in, like, and I had a lot going on. I was like, this is great, but I tried to ground myself, A lot of people around me were getting excited. I was like, let's just calm down. And then obviously I took a little bit of a dip, and then the last time I won it was 2018, and the prize fund wasn't as big. It might have been $400,000 because sponsorships weren't as good that year or whatever the situation was. But it's not really about the money side of things. It's more about how it makes you feel internally. The feeling of winning internally versus the amount of money coming in is two different things. Like that's just a bonus, the financial side of things. But the winning feeling, you ask anybody, like you can't take that, you can't beat that. Like that's why we decide to play in some of the smaller events sometimes, because that feeling of winning is exceeds way beyond anything that you can get financially. I think it's one of those where you work hard to a stage where you need to get to the top level. And when you get to that top level, I think it's about working smart. Like you were saying, there's a lot of study going in at that top percent. I think that's the same thing as what I was trying to say is a lot of these guys have already done their studying, they've done their work. And now it's just about maximizing that and being smart about it and going, well, I'm not very good at hitting it left to right. So all I'm going to do is hit it right to left, and I'm going to get really good at hitting it right to left. And then instead of then trying to go, oh, there's a pin on the right hand side, I'm just going to just try and hit the shot I'm not comfortable with. They'll go, okay, well, that's just not a hole I can really be aggressive on. I'll just accept that it's not going to be that close and hit it in the middle of the green, and then I'll move on. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's being smart. And it's also being dedicated mentally to sticking to a game plan, and like you say, is being consistent. Being smart with what you can do, and just being great at it. I think Tiger was the one that ruined everyone because he was able to do everything the best, left to right, right to left. He was good from really long and he was good from really short. My putting lets me down compared to everybody else's, but it's still way better than anybody else's that I would go and play with. A lot of people would say, Tom, you need to improve your putting. I'll say, okay, then let's go and play golf, and they'll play with me and they'll go, they'll go like, no, oh, Jesus, like, didn't realize you were good. I'm like, well, yes, because you're really crap, but you're saying my putting's rubbish, but actually it's way better than you think it is. It's just not got that tiny little percent that's going to get me across the line from finishing 52nd to winning the tournament. So I'd say that my mind is probably the weaker part of my game. If I felt my actual game itself is strong, but sometimes I'm a little bit hard on myself, and it can sort of reflect on my golf a little bit. But when I'm at my best and when I'm feeling my best, you've got to do what makes you happy. You've got to do things that you want to do rather than what other people expect you to do. I do a lot of meditation when I'm in that. I'm not doing it right now. Like I'm being really lazy. I can't be bothered to do it, but I know that it helps when I do it. And I do speak to different people. Like, I'm a spiritual type of person, so I speak to a spiritual, lady that's helped me for years, over in Ireland, and we speak on FaceTime a lot. She's just like another person to me. We get on great. And then I see Bob Rotella, who is the leading sports psychologist, in the world. He's helped lots of people like LeBron James and people in basketball and people in other sports, not just golf, but golf is his kind of main thing. And a lot of it's just common sense. It's about doing what's right for you and what's best for you, and trying to think like a kid. When you're a kid, you don't really think about the outcome or the worry about failing or all those types of things. And when you're in that state of mind that you don't really care what happens, that's when you play your best. When you're trying too hard, that's when you've got a problem. There's probably a lot to say about, was you mentally prepared? Was you mentally ready? Or was you mentally tired? Yeah, probably half of those I probably felt worse than I realized. But you just get into that flow. It just becomes normal. I probably couldn't get up and do a normal 9 to 5 job because the first week would be like tough to get into that routine, because I'd be like, this isn't normal for me. I'm like, inconsistency is more normal for me, and different time zones and different weather and different environments, different foods, that's normal to me. But if someone says to me, Tom, you've got to spend 6 months in a 9 to 5 job and you're going to get to a routine, I don't think that that's me. Like, I'd struggle with that, because I've been so fortunate to be able to have an inconsistent traveling life. Like, this becomes normal to me now, not knowing where I am. I haven't left the hotel. I got here last night, like 11:30 at night. I don't know what's around me, but this is normal. Like, I'm not bothered. I'll figure it out. From golf perspective, most guys at the top, if you've ever asked them, I think I asked one guy once, what made the difference between best and worst, and he was like, he told me that it was consistency. And then I remember him saying something to me that he asked Lee Westwood, who's one of the best Europeans ever to play. I asked him what he was working on in his swing 20 years ago, and he said, "Oh, I'm just trying to get a bit laid off at the top." It's irrelevant what that means, right? But he said he asked him again 20 years later. He says, "What are you working on?" He goes, "Oh, I'm just working on getting it a little bit laid off at the top." So it showed that he never really changed it a lot. It was very same stuff. And I think Tiger's a different character. Tiger's Tiger. Like, no one will ever be him, but a lot of the guys always work on the same things, consistency. I think when you've got a consistent routine off of the golf course, I think that's when the players are at their best on the golf course. One of the top players, Henrik Stenson, said to me, "Tom, you'll never play good golf angry." I'm like, "No, I'll prove to you I can play golf angry." And obviously I never did that. And I think if you've got a good stability outside of golf, good family, good morals, or you have your hobbies, you stick with them, you know what works in your golf game. Don't try and chase it too much. Work on it hard, but enjoy it. That's what probably makes the best players where they are now. And also they have self-belief, and also that their results have given them that belief as well. Oh, well, I've won doing this, so I'm going to carry on doing it. Obviously, everyone's got a gift. It's how to maximize that gift, and a lot of them top players have maximized what they believe works for them, and then they just keep doing it. Well, I think obviously it depends on the country you're in, the state tax or the income tax. Like the other week we were in Reno, and we were staying in Reno, which was Nevada, which is no income tax. But then because we were playing a tournament in Lake Tahoe in Truckee, that was California, so that we paid California tax on that price fund. So whatever that was, then obviously that state would take that. It would be the same like that in the UK. Like if you were to play in Portugal, you would take a little bit of that, but because I paid UK tax, my tax is at 44%. So let's say Portugal take the 20% of that winnings, I have to pay the other 24% of that. So I make that 44 up. But regarding sponsorships or those winnings, that depends on what you've negotiated with your management team. I think I was in a strong position. I basically said, anything that I win is mine. Anything that you get me, I will give you 20% of. Whereas normally most management companies would say, well, we'll take 25% of or 30% of what we get you, and also when you win, we'll take I don't know, a couple of percent or 5% or something like that. But I wasn't able. I was in a position that I didn't need to do that.